Hello there, good evening, I'm Stephen Wyeth and welcome to live coverage of the 2025 Copa Libertadores final to crown the best team in South American football. For the fifth time in 6 years, it's an all-Brazilian affair as Palmeiras take on Flamengo at the Estadio Monumental in Peru's capital, Lima. Whoever wins will be champions for the fourth time. Flamengo start as slight favourites. They've almost wrapped up the Brazilian title and boast the likes of former Premier League stars Jorginho and Danilo in their ranks. But Palmeiras are led by one of the most exciting managers in world football, Abel Ferreira. He's been compared to a young Jose Mourinho and could be heading to a European club in the not-too-distant future. The two biggest clubs in Brazil are going head-to-head in Lima, settle down for a mouth-watering contest. They are talking about the possibility of taking the Copa Libertadores final elsewhere, to Europe. Why would you not want that backdrop?
I mean, anywhere, generally in the big South American countries, to see it is phenomenal. But this is some stadium, and the backdrop is staggering, and the noise will be unbelievable from the start, and I suspect right to the end.
Nevin will be giving us his expert analysis throughout the evening of what is a monumental occasion to go with a stadium that bears the same name. So too contributions tonight from our South American football expert Tim Vickery. Tim, what are you looking forward to and who should we be looking out for?
Well, firstly, I'm trying to find the husband of my stepdaughter in the crowd there. He's gone, he's travelled a long way for this game. Lots of quality, lots of names who are big names and a few who are going to be bigger. One, the Palmeiras striker, Victor Roque, the most expensive player in Brazilian football. They bought him from Barcelona, didn't quite come off there. He's got his mojo back. He's back in the Brazil squad. He'll probably be attacking down the left channel. The good news for him is that Flamengo's senior centre-back, Leo Ortiz, the number 3, is not fit to start the game and is on the bench. For Flamengo, you're looking really, I think, for Jorginho to use. And Jorginho, it's been so good watching him over the last few months with Flamengo. He looks like he's playing in a suit and tie. He's so refined and he gives a platform for the key man for Flamengo, the creative force, the commentator's nightmare, the Uruguayan playmaker, Jorge de Arrascaeta,
who has had a fantastic season, the best of his career in his early 30s. What about you, Pat Nevin, tonight? We've had some fun with these occasions in the past, always dramatic and very often incredibly tense.
I can't wait every single year, but because the styles are a little bit different, the two teams, and the way they're going to set up to, that's going to be interesting as well. I mean, Flamengo, I would agree, they seem to be, you know, the slight favourites, but the likes of Carrascal, watch out for his step-overs, by the way. He loves a step-over. Then there's Lino on the left-hand side. I'm always going to talk about the wingers first. But de Arrascaeta, just as Tim was saying there, another player who's got real quality about him, but don't take anything away from Palmeiras. And I'm very, very interested. Tim was telling us before that their setup, their system, is not set in stone yet, so we'll see where they go with this one.
You said, Tim, you were seeing if you could catch a glimpse of a family member inside the ground. A lot of people from Brazil have made huge sacrifices to be part of this occasion tonight, haven't they?
Mad journeys. I mean, lots have gone down to Buenos Aires in order to go up to Lima. Some have gone all over the place. It's not quite that Argentine invasion of Brazil in the 2014 World Cup when they seem to have a monopoly on beat-up seventh-hand trucks, but it's something like it. Everyone wants to be here because whoever wins today becomes the first Brazilian team to win the Libertadores for the 4th time. It's a massive, massive occasion. These two teams between them, they will have won 5 of the last 7 versions of the Libertadores, and they will have won 7 of the last 10 versions of the Brazilian League. These two have really broken away from the pack.
Tim, if we were watching a UEFA Champions League final and talking about yet another all-Spanish final or another all-Premier League final, we would perhaps ask a question similar to this one. Is the Brazilian dominance of the Copa Libertadores a good or bad thing?
I think it's a problem for the tournament, and I wonder how long it's going to be before we see a Pan-American competition with the big Brazilians and the likes of Boca and River from Argentina in against sides from Major League Soccer and Mexico. The logistical problems are huge because the Americas are absolutely vast. But I think the synergies are obvious, and I think in the future, everything is pointing in that direction. It's almost the case that these two teams have outgrown the Libertadores. And in my preview piece at the start of the year on the BBC website, I said, well, the big hitters, they're Flamengo and Palmeiras. That wasn't a great prediction, that was an easy prediction, and here they are contesting the title.
Yes, the two clubs in South America with the financial muscle, the two that have been compared to European clubs in terms of their outlook, their approach, the investment that they have made, not just in developing their own talent, but in bringing them in from elsewhere. There's two star-studded sides, isn't it?
Yeah, and you do want that. I'm just looking at the pictures coming in there. I'm sure that was Carlos Puyol in the background there. You're getting all the stars in this one. Yeah, I mean, in the end, what this means to South American players, though, is extraordinary, and it sometimes feels as if there's more passion to this than even a Champions League final for the Europeans, because that's a world final. There's something very specifically about the continent here, isn't there, in this one? And well, you can see the feeling in the background. You can feel it. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal, and also the quality of players. When I have to mention earlier, Flacco. Watch out for Flacco as well. Another player I really enjoyed watching.
A couple of greats of Brazilian football, along with one of Barcelona's all-time best, brought the stadium to its feet once again with the introduction of one of the most magnificent trophies in world football.
Did you spot that? Pure wouldn't touch it. The thing is, as a footballer anywhere in the world, if you've not won the trophy, you never touch the trophy. And that's why Pure went, no, I don't do that. Some things never change all over the world.
It's a bit too late for him to consider adding it to his...
oh, he's got plenty, don't worry, he's got plenty.
That is what is at stake. Eternal glory is always what is on the line for the sides that contest this, not just magnificent final, but fantastic competition, which in the last few years has led to this one-off showpiece occasion. And the stage is set in the Peruvian capital for the big two of Brazilian football, arguably the big two of South American football. It is a fitting occasion. How does it, Tim, draw comparison to the Champions League final in Europe? It feels as though this is something that just goes beyond even that.
Yeah, maybe, although, as we've said, there are fewer countries who can get their hands on this. So there's more diversity in terms of countries that can win. But it's a huge competition, not least because you win this, you get a possibility of playing those rich cousins from the other side of the Atlantic. Whoever wins this has to wrap up their last two games in the Brazilian League, and then it's straight off to Qatar to play against Cruz Azul of Mexico, get through that, Pyramids of Egypt, get through that, Paris Saint-Germain. So this chance to have a crack at the winners of the Champions League adds extra spice to what we're going to see over the next 90, 120 minutes.
The showpiece occasion of South American club football is once again an all-Brazilian affair, a repeat of the 2021 final won by Palmeiras, this time Flamengo more fancied.
Uma só camisa, só número, uma só mensagem. Zero discriminação, zero desculpas.
Yes, Palmeiras' form has dropped off since they reached the final. They are winless in 5 in all competitions. 4 wins in 7 has taken Flamengo to the brink of the Brazilian title. There's certainly always a dramatic occasion, one that the team in red and black are the favourites for tonight, and indeed the favourites to clinch a Brazilian and continental double. What, if anything, can Palmeiras do about that? They have all but given up on becoming the Brazilian champions, but can they become the champions of South America? Well, 2 Palmeiras changes from their dramatic semi-final second leg recovery. 2 of those who made significant substitute contributions against Quito's start, Kelvin, and 2-goal tie winner Rafael Veiga in place of the former Forest player Ramon Sosa, who is on the bench. The former Fulham and Manchester United midfielder Andreas Pereira has history with this fixture. He starts for Palmeiras 4 years on from a costly error in the colours of Flamengo in the final. Flaco Lopez is the joint leading scorer in the Libertadores this season, but is without a goal in 9 in all competitions. The referee is from Argentina. Dario Herrera is the man in charge. Victor Paleta is the VAR. He has 3 assistants, if that gives you an indication of how much scrutiny they are expecting over major incidents in the game tonight. Well,
last season, 25 seconds in, they were checking it out for sending off right at the start. They may have their hands full tonight.
It is standing room only in the booth. The chosen one was how referee Dario Herrera was announced as the man in charge for tonight. I bet he's had 1 or 2 sleepless nights since that announcement was made.
You know what it's like in these games, and I mean, you couldn't have a Brazilian obviously doing it in this game, so, and he's saying, I'm not going to be favouring anyone, but trust me, the team that loses and their fans will not be happy with him, whatever happens.
Gustavo Gomez is the man skippering Palmeiras tonight. One of those back in the Flamengo starting lineup. Bruno Henrique leads them. It is 3 Flamengo changes from their semi-final second leg. Former Manchester City defender Danilo, a 2-time Champions League winner with Real Madrid, starts. Samuel Lino, a summer signing from Atletico Madrid, is recalled. And that in-form man, Bruno Henrique, is the one to replace suspended striker Gonzalo Plata. Former Chelsea and Arsenal midfielder Jorginho provides big game experience. 31-year-old Jorge de Arrascaeta is having the season of his life with 23 goals in all competitions. In the touchline for Flamengo, their manager is a Premier League title winner with Chelsea, Felipe Luis. It is he who has made those 3 changes tonight.
Yeah, very noticeable that the teams, if you look at the way that Flamengo are set out, they look like exactly as you expect, possibly as close as they can get to the strongest team and very comfortable. But it's the adaptations to Palmeiras we're really looking out for. Tim Vickery was mentioned, and we were having a chat earlier on, and you know, looking at Fuchs, he was suggesting there's a possibility he could walk into midfield as one of the 3 centre-backs and maybe stop De Arrascaeta. And I'm very intrigued by Tim's ideas and that, to see if that works, because it's a big call to go with 3 centre-backs when you don't always play that way. So Palmeiras, we shall see how they line up.
The latest all-Brazilian Copa Libertadores final underway in Lima. Flamengo, the team that most reckon will go on to win it. But Palmeiras have the big game experience and are immediately looking to apply some early pressure, the team in green. And they want a decision right from the off. We do occasionally get big decisions early on in this particular fixture. The first, though, does go the way of Flamengo.
Right, we're 30 seconds in. We've had 1 attempted dive for a penalty kick, and then as we drive away there, another player threw himself to ground. I think that's Alan there, who's on the right-hand side. You're not going to have a penalty for that, not a chance. In no league in the world, no cup in the world, He's putting a little bit of pressure on the referees. That's all part of the deal.
He needs his eyes in the back of his head, the referee, Abel Ferreira, who has twice won this trophy. 2 of the 10 he has won during 5 years at the helm of Palmeiras. He is the longest-serving head coach in Brazilian football for 3 decades. Ferreira. First chance for Flamengo. Just about. Palmeiras have managed to get their selves together to get it clear.
That must have been a bit tight for offside there, breaking down the right-hand side. Lots and lots of pace, and you wondered if this would have been one of those games of chess at the start. No, not so far. End to end, both teams have got into dangerous areas right from the start, which is really good to see.
Danilo gives a touch to his goalkeeper, Agustin Rossi, who is an ever-present in League and Copa Libertadores for Flamengo this season. He's played 63 games. That is a measure of just how much football is played during the course of a Brazilian season for the top clubs. One forward for Vitor Roque to think about chasing down, but Alexandro gets it clear.
It's a bit of a surprise in the midfield there. Jorginho and Eric Pulgar, they've got a great understanding. They both play, as we'd say in South America, in the 5 position. So they play centrally, defensively, hold the ball, control the game. But they really seem to understand each other most of the time. But on that occasion, lost possession in a quite dangerous area, but Palmeiras made nothing of it.
Here goes Bruno Henrique. And it's out of play off him. Felipe Luis turning to the 34-year-old striker tonight, who has scored 6 in 6 in November. You can see why the former Chelsea player, who also won the League Cup during his season at Stamford Bridge, has made that decision.
Yeah, good call. By the way, Felipe Luis looks as if he could still play. Absolutely. I thought he was a fabulous player. Even though rated as fabulous, I thought he was underrated. I thought he was a great player, but to start his managerial career.
Looked forward by Rafael Veiga. Vitor Roque is interested, very interested, and Rossi had to be precise.
Very direct, straight through the middle. Trust your strikers. Vitor Roque, as again Tim was saying earlier on, a lot of money invested in there, and he is a goal scorer, but he's a clever and intelligent player too.
If you're a fan of Manchester United, Chelsea and Tottenham in particular, those are the Premier League clubs who have been linked most seriously with the services of Vitor Roque, who has 20 goals this season. By Carlos Miguel, who made just 3 appearances during a season with Nottingham Forest. Chance here for Flamengo. And there's the first corner of the game, deflected behind off Bruno Fuchs.
Yeah, that's what we want to see from Flamengo. I mean, get out wide. They're very, very good. Carrascal, as I mentioned before, loves a step over down the right-hand side. Cuts in a lot as well. But Lino, again, the little dummy there, gets himself half a yard. Probably should have got the ball in quicker. He'll take the penalty, take the corner kick from here.
Lino, another £20 million arrival this year to Brazilian football. Here Pereira is forward from the back. The corner did look for a moment like it might be curling in towards the target.
I don't think Miguel is as calm as he's pretending to be after that one. I mean, he is a giant, an absolute giant of a goalkeeper. He's come for it, and you can see with that little twist of the head there, can't you? He definitely didn't really know that was going there. You can see quite a lot of nerves out there, can't you? A lot of nerves. There's players, you know, miscontrolling it a little bit more than they normally would, but you understand the build-up to this has been huge here, well, all over South America, but when they've come to Lima, it's just built up again.
Pulgar's boot was slightly raised there. Rafael Veiga on the receiving end.
in the build-up to this game. The striker for Flamengo, Plata, he was sent off 3 or 4 times this season. I watched the games, and honestly, it's the softest sending off just about you've ever seen in your life. I really hope the referee doesn't get carried away in this one, but then I suspect not. He's an Argentinian referee.
Leo Pereira out to Guillermo Varela. Bruno Henrique trying to create a bit of space for himself. Instead, though, he's Vitor Roque, and it's Valera getting back to dispossess him.
Yeah, you see the closing down there, no space at all. See Vitor Roque turning around to everyone saying, I need a little bit of help, I've got 4 players around me there. And just before that, little back flick heel by Carrascal. As I say, he loves a flick and a trick.
He's also got a sense of the big occasion, having scored the only goal of Flamengo's attritional semi-final against the Argentine club Racing. Danilo for Rossi. Alexandro is the outlet, and goal kick is the outcome.
I expected, particularly from Flamengo, to play it out from the back a little bit more. You know, play it into Jorginho, play it into Pulgar, because they want the ball. They always want the ball. But look how tightly they're being marked from that area there. You know, really high up. It's a good press, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of comfort and confidence to play through it at the moment.
Sent long by Rossi. Good leap by Murillo. Guided back to his goalkeeper by Leo Pereira. And an extravagant clearance by Augustin Rossi, which goes all the way through to his opposite number.
Well, Rossi, he doesn't seem to want to play out from the back. You know, he's got players that are showing for him there, saying, like, give us it, we can play a little bit, but, I mean, he can hit a ball fairly far. It's at the length of the pitch there, but a surprising tactic there.
Kelvin just stepped in to make sure that a mistake was immediately dealt with. Flaco Lopez has taken a whack.
Once again, the referee not getting carried away. That's okay. Not every foul, every time someone gets down as a yellow card.
Fuchs forward. Glanced on by Flaco Lopez. Here's Varela. Once upon a time of Manchester United. 4 seasons there, and only 11 appearances. It's a while ago now.
Yeah, but he is a player who loves to get forward, doesn't he? In that full-back position. But at the moment, it has been a little bit scrappy. It has to be said, there is a foul there. It's not deliberate, but he's hit his hand without a shadow of a doubt. But I do think there are a lot of players that have not quite settled into it yet. They're waiting for, you know, a shape to develop in the game. There's not really a huge shape actually developed yet.
Varela against Piquerez. Lofted forward towards Carrascal. Now Bruno Henrique. Jorginho. Alexandro forward for the first time and doesn't get the free kick he was anticipating. So a chance for Andreas Pereira to scamper forward.
He's not going for the referee, is he? Players throwing themselves down, he's just saying, get up, get up. I'm enjoying that.
There will be shenanigans. They can wait for later on.
There already have been people going down slightly easy. Also, that's not to say that a few heavy tackles haven't been left in there.
Bruno Henrique was the target. Instead, that will be A Palmeiras free kick as Rafael Veiga was dragged back.
Yeah, you can see in that midfield there, you know, you're just so much expecting someone to get it down, hold it. You play a couple of little 1-2s, develop a little bit of space, but it's so tight at the moment. I mean, I don't think they can keep up for the entirety of the game. Space will develop eventually.
Rafael Veiga came off the bench in the second leg of Palmeiras' semi-final against Quito as they recovered from a 3-0 first leg deficit to win the second 4-0. Got some defending to do here now though, Palmeiras. Flamengo with the first genuinely looking opportunity of the game. It was Arrascaeta taking aim.
To be fair, I think they might be tempted to look at Vega's challenge there. It looked to me as if it was a little bit naughty. Certainly the position he went into the tackle there. See, just there, you know, that's went a little bit high over the top of the ball. That's the one. I don't think he is badly hurt. I think he's going to be fine, but be very careful you put that sort of tackle in. It's probably the best chance of the game so far, though. But it's gone up, it's turned on it, hasn't got any purchase on it, has got the corner kick. Shall we see if he's... well, the referee's writing down a word. I didn't see him giving any card out to Veiga, but we shall see.
Flamengo corner. Dealt with by Palmeiras. And they will be satisfied and relieved to have overcome what was the game's first notable scare. Lino. All the way through to Carlos Miguel.
Yeah, but that's a good ball. That's a really good ball there. It's come inside onto his right foot in this case, and well, that's a little bit was right after all. Veiga did get the yellow card, which I have to say I thought he deserved. The referee allowed the play to go on, which I have to say slightly surprised me. But it was the right thing to do because Flamengo were on the attack.
Of all the matches in world football, this is not the one that you want to spend a huge amount of time on a yellow card during.
Yeah, I did think that was a wee bit naughty. You just, you know, it was a bit of a straight leg. It was far too high. It was a graze on the shin, but it's one of those ones, has the foot been planted, it could have been very dangerous.
Jorge Carrascal involved there, though. So very much OK to continue. Leo Pereira gets the ball back from Alexandro. It's Danilo, who, like Jorginho, his teammate, is looking to join the very exclusive club of players that have won this competition and the Champions League as well. Varela. Forward for Bruno Henrique. First sight of goal of the evening for Bruno Henrique. Some distance off target, but those are the kind of positions they'll want to get him in.
That's a better move, that, and against Varela, he breaks him side there. This is a nice little dink, left foot, and he's usually better on his right foot. He kind of should get it on target, but the tackle is coming in there. It's one of those ones, if it's on target, it probably does get blocked, but that little bit of space, it's beginning to open up just a little bit now. Flamengo just maybe nudging ahead a little bit just now, and half chances if nothing else.
Header won comfortably by Leo Pereira. He's the former Juventus full-back slash wing-back. Alexandro, capable of doing both of those jobs. Arrascaeta. Bruno Henrique ahead of him. Carrascal as well. Here's Samuel Lino. Samuel Lino! Decided going for goal was the best option available to him.
Well, it's a couple of times he's come inside now from that left-hand side. Comfortable to go either way, actually. When he comes inside, loves a little bit of a step over there as well. Both wingers do. Just gets a half a yard there, but can't quite curl it in. And you begin to feel it a little bit now. Flamengo are just turning it up. I think they wanted the game to calm down, to be played more at a pace that they were comfortable with. but the speed of the breaks is very good, and quite often they just miss out the midfield. They're getting pressed a little bit, and as soon as they're pressed, it's the oldest one in the book. Just ping it over the top of them then. They've done that, and they're looking a bit more dangerous for it.
By foot, but it's coming straight back at Palmeiras. Beyond the reach, though, of Bruno Henrique.
There's Jorginho there, not finding the right pass, but so often plays a very good first touch or second touch pass that gets defences completely confused because they can't get set.
Piquerez theatrically down, but he was sent tumbling by Eric Polga.
Do you know what? I'm liking that referee a lot at the moment. I mean you're very wary of saying it because you're ever referees, particularly in a game here, in this stressful situation, you're one mistake away from having a nightmare. But yeah, it's a foul, but it's no more than that.
Some talk that set pieces were as good a route towards goals as any other for Palmeiras tonight, so this is their first opportunity to offer a demonstration of that. Rafael Veiga and Andreas Pereira are the two standing over this. And from Rafael Veiga, punched away by Rossi.
Wasn't a bad ball, and I mean, keeper, I mean, some do like to punch it, but to be fair, that's right in front of his chest, and there's nobody attacking him. He just catch the thing.
Hefty collision with perhaps an offside in there as well, as Arrascaeta and Rafael Veiga came together. A little bit more unusual, by the way, in South America than in Europe for a former player to step into the technical area. Felipe Luis, though, has done a sensational job in his 14 months in charge of Flamengo. Already won the Copa do Brazil, well, almost certainly, barring the incredible, win the Brazilian title this season. And potentially this the biggest one of the lot as well.
Again, that long ball up, time and time again. And he's winning the odd flick on. It has to be said, both of them are doing actually quite well when it's put up there. Vitor Roque, he's got a few wins, you know, Flacco's won once or twice as well. But somebody's going to run onto it.
Varela. Well anticipated by Andres Pereira. Vitor Roque controls and finds Flaco Lopez, who's looking to return the pass, anticipated by Danilo.
Well, that's the understanding I want to see for Palmeiras, them to, maybe more than anyone else in the team, Flaco and Vitor Roque, they work together brilliantly well. They're two very, very clever players. One drops, one goes wide. They can switch a little bit of time, some of the time as well. And they're really hard to mark because they make unusual runs, and also they really understand each other very well. But that's the first time they've worked well together today.
There's a free kick there for the challenge on Lino.
He's not affected, is he? There's lots of rolling about. The referee's just... And, you know, how can I say this delicately? He will survive.
Kelvin might just need to tread a little bit more carefully, though, if he's going to make those kinds of challenges. One back by Rafael Veiga. Allen. That's a good cross. And Vitor Roque has sent it eventually over the crossbar. Palmeiras think his was not the final touch.
Yeah, I was mentioning earlier on about Carrascal likes a little flick. Well, don't get caught in those positions, because that's exactly what Palmeiras want, because they'll break quickly, got it out wide. That's a very decent ball in there as well. And it was one of those moments we were talking about mistakes, but, you know, the Andreas Pereira one previously, you know, you'll be remembered forever if you make a mistake that ends up losing your team this competition.
Well, it is the narrative-heavy moment that comes with this fixture, the one involving Andreas Pereira from this final, this fixture 4 years ago in the colours of Flamengo, the mistake in extra time that gifted Palmeiras their winning goal for Daverson. He then subsequently, having been on loan in Brazil from Manchester United, joined Fulham, and Flamengo went on to win the Copa Libertadores that season. Some saw that as justification for coming so close a year before, but now here he is back in the big showpiece, in the same fixture but on the opposite side. Wide from Alexandro to Arrascaeta. Hooks away. Here comes Alan. And it took quite the effort to prevent him making further progress, and that challenge has brought the supporters to their feet from Samuel Lino. Our South American football expert Tim Vickery is with us this evening. Tim, what have you made of the opening quarter of the game?
I'm with Pat. The referee's the man of the match so far. You know, nothing will faze him. Dario Herrera, he once took charge a few years back of a Boca River derby when the River team were attacked through the inflatable tunnel and the game had to be abandoned. He's seen it all. He's letting the game flow much, much more than a Brazilian ref would do. Palmeiras have gone back three, and with two up front, that can leave them a little bit light in midfield, and you're asking someone like Rafael Veiga to defend more than he'd like to. Not great at it, hence the yellow card that he's picked up. We'll see if Flamengo can take advantage. Palmeiras blocking Varela there with Piqueres, the left back, but a couple of times Flamengo have got into that space behind him there with Bruno Henrique. I think Flamengo have shaded it so far, but scrappy, nervy, and it's going to unfold gradually over the course of 90 and who knows, maybe 120 minutes.
First demonstration there of the volatility of the character of Abel Ferreira, who has been remonstrating with the officials and has been put firmly in his place.
Yeah, they're working well as a team down there, the officials. It's funny, the one player maybe we have heard very little so far is Arrascaeta. He's not been able to find those pockets of spaces, but those are the spaces, and those players are the ones that want a game to go on and be fast and pacey, because then spaces will open up, players will get tired, and they only need a little gap. So far, Arrascaeta not really had a great involvement in the game.
Guillermo Varela. Arrascaeta coming out to the right-hand side to try and find one of those pockets of space that Pat was just suggesting he needed to discover. Layoff from Jorginho. And there is a card for the challenge on Vitor Roque by Arrascaeta. He is the first in Flamengo colours to be cautioned.
You know, you go to ground there, and he's tried to pull out of it, but that's a striker's tackle. It really is, because he's gone to ground, he's followed through. Look, again, here's the big secret. Oh, we can see who's going to get booked here. Number 10 for co-rounder. But you know, that's a frustration that he's not been able to get involved in the game so far. You go to ground like that, you don't really give the referee any opportunity to do anything else, because you're out of control. It is a little bit reckless. It's also a bit stupid.
So one of the survivors of the match between these two in 2021 and a winner of the competition in 2019 and 2022. Georgian de Arrascaeta is on a yellow card. Varela overhit it.
There's a lot of long balls being played, isn't it? A lot of long balls. And it's, I mean, certainly in the European game, or particularly the Premier League, you know, well, he doesn't seem very happy about it, but, you know, in the Premier League, you know, it's becoming more of a thing for a long time not seeing it.
Arrascaeta. Fuchs to ground, but the challenge was clean.
Do you know, I was watching Arrascaeta get the ball there. He's in the box. He's under a bit of pressure. But you know what he can't do? He can't go down. Because he's been booked, he cannot take a chance and try for a penalty kick because he could be off the pitch. And that's the danger for a forward player like that who gets an early yellow.
Since that 2021 final, Palmeiras have only won this fixture twice, and neither of those were meaningful victories. One in a Super Copa at the start of the season, the other in the second leg of a Copa do Brazil tie, which they lost on aggregate. Flamengo have won 4 of the last 7, so on head-to-head. Flamengo favourites, but Palmeiras with that little bit of history of having prevailed from the meeting between the two in the Copa Libertadores final. Carrascal. Rafael Veiga taking it away from him. Flaco Lopez hits the floor, and it's protest and counter-protest.
Yeah, they're going to keep on pressuring him, and he just walks away from the referee. He just, a stern look, walks away from it. You're not going to stress me, you're not going to pressure me. But what's intriguing just now, watching, now I'm very keen to see Arrascaeta how he answers to this, because now he's, a couple of times now he's tried going up front right beside Enrique, you know, like 2 centre forwards. But you're against the back 3, and I'm not sure that's the best call. You know, sit off, try and find that space. It will develop. Flaco
Lopez wins the header again.
You can't go
Pereira sliding in with the boot raised. Flamengo incensed, the reaction to the challenge seemingly more dramatic than the nature of it as Bruno Henrique gets to his feet.
No, it is, it definitely is more. I mean, he's not hurt there at all. He's tried to pull out his tackle, but don't take a chance. If you go to ground, there is a chance that you will go in the referee's book, even if it's not vicious, it's not nasty. You do that, take a chance in midfield, and it was a real temptation. I'm delighted the referee didn't go to his pocket there for that one, but he could have.
Lino. Fuchs. With the challenge up, and now there's some afters. Card is out, it might not be the only one. The fuse has been lit.
Yeah, it's the reaction there. And once again, I'm not convinced he's that badly hurt, but, you know, they're going to get the referee looking at it. The VAR will be looking at it as well. Let's have a look at it closely here. He's put under a lot of pressure. There's nothing really happening there. You know, there's no kick there, but it's what happens after. He's kicked it into him there. Not quite giving him that amount of sympathy. Certainly, unless there's something else I didn't see. There were afters. You're absolutely right. So that gang of VAR officials you were talking about before, they'll be brought into it. He is acting as if, you know, it's been a really bad. I have to say, I didn't see. I mean, there was a reaction, and there was a tiny wee kick out. The thing is, if he has connected, whether he is that badly injured, if he's connected and the ball wasn't there, you've got real trouble now.
We've yet to see any evidence to justify why we got the reaction we did from Bruno Fuchs, who was guilty of the initial foul on Arrascaeta.
There's nothing there. There's nothing much there. He has to go and try and get it. It's what happens after that is the problem.
which we've still not seen a clear replay.
By the way, well, here we go. Right, okay, I think we can safely say if he stays on the pitch after that, I'll be absolutely and utterly stunned.
What was Eric Tolgar thinking?
Oh, he's got... You can't do that. You can't... I mean, to be honest, it's one of those ones. I don't think there's any breaks or anything like that. I think it just studs down the shin. But that is bizarrely stupid at this point in time. 30 minutes into the competition, there's no danger. It's in the middle of the field. Only a yellow? Wow.
For a player with experience of this very occasion, won it in 2022 with Flamengo, but he's the first to seriously lose his head.
Right, well, he's obviously given a yellow. Now, whether the VAR are looking at that and considering it, and to be honest, with the ball, as far as I can see, the angle we've seen for the second time, the ball didn't seem anywhere near it. It really didn't. And if that's the case, I'll be staggered if it stays. Well, if the referee's made the mistake, this will be his first mistake he's made. But that's, for me, that's a red card.
Well, if they submit that shot of the shin of Bruno Fuchs, then the evidence is pretty damning, isn't it?
Trust me, the VARs will be seeing everything. They're all over it. They'll see a lot more than us. He's listening now and again. They've had a few words. I think he just wants to get on with it. Let's see. It's a big moment here. Does he whistle to start the game again, or does he whistle and say he wants to see more? I think he's going to let him away with it. When I say yellow card, letting him away, I think he is.
A game that so often doesn't finish 11 against 11, somewhat surprisingly remains it for now.
Right, well, that's... I have to say there's a lot of people, particularly wearing green at the moment, who will be absolutely furious at that.
Does that set a precedent, though, for the kind of conduct that might just be allowed to slide tonight?
Well, he hasn't allowed it before, though. I mean, he's not allowed any dives, and the referee's strict when he had to, and he's controlled a lot of it. But he's been, for me, very lenient there. I mean, hey, if you're a Flamengo fan sitting listening to this, you're saying, what are you talking about? But, I mean, if you look at Champions League, you're off. Full stop, you're off.
It'll just be part of the story. Remains to be seen how significant a part. Felipe Luis certainly is relieved that he is not having to reorganise for 10 men against 11.
I have to say that I thought he was making a meal of it when he first went down there. But when you saw it again for the second time, that's a stupid and ridiculous challenge.
Now Varela is fouled.
You want somebody to light up the game at this point in time, don't you? Not just with fouls and free kicks and the odd kick here and there. A little bit of skill. You want at some point Leno or Carrascal to get the ball in the final third, and the wide areas an attack from there. Arrascaeta's not got the ball in any danger, maybe once in a dangerous area, but he didn't do anything with it. And to be honest, the understanding between Flaco and Victor Roque that I was hoping to see a little bit more of it. It's one of those ones where the ball's, it's a phrase we have in Scotland, never mind the ball going with the game. It's a wee bit like that. It just hasn't been enough good, sophisticated, talented play in the final thirds.
Leo Pereira is charged down. The team from Sao Paulo have a throw.
mean, that ball, honestly, it does disappoint a little bit, because you're so excited about some of the quality players that you get in South American football, particularly Brazilian football, and the attitude of the Brazilians towards the beautiful game. And you're thinking, well, wait a minute, you're just lobbing it forward and lumping it aimlessly, and there's a real misunderstanding there by the two strikers, Flacco and Victor Roque. You know, nothing. That wasn't their fault. There was no chance of them getting onto that.
Chance for Piqueres to carry the ball forward. Rafael Veiga with the switch of play for Alan. Andreas Pereira gets involved. Here's the skipper, Gustavo Gomez.
Again, we're just not used to seeing the ball given away that easily. I mean, that's... Again, you look at it again. I mean, seriously. The rules are different, are they? I mean, I honestly, I don't think he's that bad. It's a bad scrape. They hurt, yeah. And well, may you cover your eyes.
The innocence of youth summing up most people's thoughts about that particular challenge.
It probably spooked a few of the players as well, because they now know the referees must have considered it. So he's probably got an idea in his mind now that, right, okay, if anyone else does anything really stupid, I need to react. And the players will be aware of that, so there's been a wee tentativeness for the next 5 minutes since that foul. And that's been putting it politely. Foul occurred.
Here's Varela. Jorginho. Well, didn't see the challenge coming and then lunged into one. And Jorginho is on a yellow card. The man for the big occasion, the man of vast experience in Europe, is now the latest to step onto the tightrope.
And that's the thing he should never do, never wants to do, because what his genius always was controlling the ball, keeping the ball, holding the ball. And he knows what he was doing there. He's lost it, there's a break on, he's never, with his lack of pace, he's never going to get back. So I was going to say he's taking one for the team, but he's taking one for himself as well. And the quicker this goes now, is that 4? I think it's only 4 yellow cards, but they're beginning to mount up now.
Jorginho loses the ball again. We are not used to seeing that. Not on either continent on which he's played the game. Piqueres. Murillo. Gustavo Gomez. Out of play.
Again, that ball, quite incredible. You know, just about pressure. That's all it's taking, and it's just lumped up. And if you're one of the forwards, you're saying, well, give me some quality. Give me something to work with. Put it into my feet at some point in time so I can do something with it and get a little bit of link-up play organised. And I have to say, it's for both teams. You know, that the midfield has been a bit of a battle out there, i.e. 4 of the midfielders are already being booked anyway. But you do get a feeling that at some point a little bit of quality in that final third has got to happen.
Bruno Henrique, the latest to react, as though he was expecting something that was not forthcoming.
I would be intrigued to hear Tim Vickery's point of view as well, you know, as the game goes on, because the tension's obvious. I mean, you can't forget this. I mean, like, a lot of players get tense in cup finals, you know, but it's the Copa Libertadores, it's the final, it's the 2 biggest teams, it's the Brazilian face-off. There's so much pressure, and you can actually feel it.
Kelvin guilty of the miscontrol that concedes the throw and gives the ball back to Flamengo. It's a long time since they had that flurry of shots. Arrascaeta, Bruno Henrique and Samuel Lino all having a blast at Carlos Miguel's target. The only response from Palmeiras at the other end, Vitor Roque's downward header up off the turf and over the crossbar. There he is again, though. Vitor Roque, who goes to ground. It will be a free kick for the challenge by Danilo.
Actually, that's a take. You know, get it up to his feet. I mean, instead of launching it long, you know, up above his neck, you know, or beyond him, get it into his feet. It's got a little bit of quality there. Do you know, it's one of those ones where, yeah, probably just about a foul for him, just about, because he was falling through. But if you're a defender and you get too close and you don't get the ball, you know, it is a free kick. Now, the last time they got a free kick in this situation, I think with Vega put it in a really dangerous area. They took one touch and then put it in a very dangerous area. No one followed in. Let's see if they do the same this time.
Agustin Rossi gets things organised in front of him as Rafael Veiga is once again an interested party in this set piece. It is he who delivers. More comfortably dealt with this time, Carrascal. And now the break is on. And that's a good pass forward. Arrascaeta. Kelvin is there. And the ball is kept in play and thumped clear by Gustavo Gomez.
May have got a wee injury there. I think it was straight into the hoardings down there, but the ball was just too long from Arrascaeta. Just a half a yard too long in a really dangerous area. Should have done better.
Carrascal for Pulga. Jorginho onto Leo Pereira. Poked on towards Bruno Henrique. Goalkeeper's come a long way. And Carlos Miguel required cover behind him.
Brilliant move. That's more like it. That's what we want to see. You're not lumping up. It's not aimless. Your players working off each other. Play it into feet. Try a little through ball. Much, much better. And again, it's Flamengo have had the best moments here. Holds it up and look at the little through ball there on the half turn. And he's almost got through. And I think it goes down for a penalty about 10 seconds after the event. Probably a bit late there. That was better.
Good alert defending from Joaquin Piqueres, who was across to clear the ball away. Gomez for Piqueres. Had the opportunities to get forward as often as he would perhaps like. The Uruguayan, another of those who is a veteran of the 2021 meeting between these sides. At Palmeiras won by 2-1. Between them, they have dominated this competition in recent years. It's not just been Brazilian dominance, but in particular the dominance of these two huge Brazilian clubs who have played between them 6 of the last 7 finals. They won 4 in a row between them, between 2019 and 2022. That is why Tim Vickery was suggesting before we kicked off tonight that they might just have even begun to outgrow this competition, that rivals from beyond the South American continent might be required at some point.
Yeah, at the moment, all that they've had together, that history they've got together, but at the moment they are absolutely cancelling each other out for the vast majority of this half. That's exactly what's happened. It's been a battle in midfield. There's nobody been able to control it in that midfield area, and the once or twice that have actually got the ball down and try and play, particularly Flamengo, they have looked a little bit more dangerous than Palmeiras, but it's been very, very little in it. And I start to think now, with those 3 minutes extra, which I'm stunned by, because it'd be a lot more than that. But, you know, Esteval was playing for Palmeiras last year, and someone like that would really light up a game like this. You know, so maybe they're still actually suffering a wee bit losing a player of that standard, even though he was only a kid, and indeed still is only a kid.
Yes, just the 3 additional minutes at the end of what has been a disjointed at time first half. We had more than 3 minutes just Whilst Bruno Fuchs was receiving treatment after the challenge from Eric Polgar. Varela looking to see the ball out of play, but Vitor Roque thought just for a moment that he had kept that attack alive.
Do you know what? It looked to me as if it stayed in. We shall see here, better angle. Did it? Did it? Oh, you can't quite see from that. Maybe it did go out, but it was a tight one. A little bit more urgency there. He's desperate to play it out now. He's not played it out from the back hardly at all in this first half. And, you know, when you give the ball away, you know, just lump it long and you're not controlling it. And it has to be said, Enrique's not really been able to control it up front for Flamengo at all in this game so far. So
Lino wanted a return pass. Jorginho's got the alternative choice to make, but Polgar has lost possession of the ball. Goes Vitor Roque. His pressure was very effective. Won the ball and then won a free kick. And that's a bit silly from Danilo.
Well, that sums up just the player I've been talking about here. They'll get the ball in the midfield there. And the temptation was to play it long. And then he changed his mind. And it wasn't a good ball up to Vitor Roque. But he's won it, he's fought, he's battled, he's held up, and he's got a foul. That's what happens when you try a little bit more football to players that are good players. Give them the ball in good areas, and they can hold it and develop something. And once again, third from this area. That's not a bad vantage point, is it?
Ticket's not easy to come by. Some vantage points further away than others.
I think I'd have brought my binoculars.
They are vaguely aware a football game is taking place a long way beneath where they are perched. This is arguably a slightly better angle for a free kick than the previous two that Palmeiras have had from that side.
It's whether they tried the same angle in, you know, been in towards the goalkeeper. They've tried it twice already. The second delivery wasn't good. Maybe a left footer might be worth a try this time.
And it comes from Rafael Veiga. Joaquin Piquerez, and it took a deflection on its way wide.
Yeah, will they have time for it? That's the big thing, because, well, maybe not. The referee, when that ball looked as if it was going in, better angle will go from it here. It's a long way out. Keeper would have got it had it gone through and touched nobody, but those deflections can go absolutely anywhere.
Felipe Luis's side survive a late hit towards their target. It is 0-0 at half-time in the Copa Libertadores final. We thought attritional might be one of the ways it would go, and that has proved to be the case. Arrascaeta, Bruno Henrique and Samuel Lino all had efforts at the Palmeiras goal. Vitor Roque's header that bounced over the crossbar, as close as Palmeiras have come. And at half-time in Lima, it is Palmeiras 0, Flamengo 0. So let's, Pat Nevin, take a look back at what represented the best of the chances in the first half, although that's also let you know that there's a bit of a tussle on the touchline. That was the first of them, Bruno Henrique with a shot over the crossbar.
Yeah, probably should have done it well. You're not going to get many chances in this game. Gets lots of pressure, but it's bounced on, grant you that, but you should have got that one on target. This is one of the few times they got the ball into good early, very early on in the game, first 15 minutes. I thought, right, I'm really looking forward to seeing both wingers, Lino on one side getting the ball, Carrascal on the other side getting the ball and causing problems. And then it dried up. It didn't happen after that. So eventually Palmeiras get the odd little chance when they got further forward. It wasn't often, it wasn't rare, didn't get enough purchase on it. And that's among the best chances we've seen. They've not been great chances, but it's a shot at goal, not on goal. So as far as highlights gone, there are not a huge amount of them there in goal-scoring opportunities.
And then this is the big talking point from the first half, Pat. Initially, didn't look to be a huge amount that Bruno Fuchs reacted to, but eventually we saw an angle and it was studs of Eric Polgar onto the shin of Bruno Fuchs. That could have been red rather than yellow.
Right. So anybody who thinks, oh, he just missed the ball and followed through, incorrect, right? Idiotically, deliberately does that. And the fact that the studs are right onto you and right on down, and they've railed right down his shin pads, and the referee and the VAR have seen that and not given a red card. I am stunned.
Plenty more drama and hopefully goals to come from Peru. We'll be back shortly for the start of the second half. Now, though, it has been an incredible 12 months for the Chelsea and England goalkeeper Hannah Hampton, helping her club win a domestic treble and saving 2 penalties in the Euro 2025 final shootout as the Lionesses beat Spain. Now she's been crowned BBC Women's Footballer of the Year in a public vote, and the BBC's Maz Faruqi and Chelsea head coach Sonia Bonpastor went along to surprise her with the trophy.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I have a big surprise. Trust me, I'm really good doing that. Livia is like, wow, what is she doing? And it's been incredible for me as a manager, for the club. She's been performing really well on the pitch. And also, since I joined Chelsea, I already said that, she's been also a great person outside the pitch.
Hannah Hampton, on behalf of the BBC World Service, you're the BBC Women's Footballer of the Year 2025. Congratulations! Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect it. With all the other players nominated, I think they've all had unbelievable years. It still doesn't quite sink in that people call you England #1. I still see so many unbelievable keepers before me who've done a lot better things than what I've done, and I've still got big gloves and big shoes to fill. From Carly, from Karen, from Mary, even before that, I'm sure, and I've probably missed loads of names off that list. They've changed the perception of women's goalkeeping. I'm just another body in that's obviously helped change the way, along with Kiara and Anna at the moment.
And there have been, like you say, so many high points, but there have been those low points as well over the last 12 months.
Yeah, I just don't seem to catch a break, do I? When one thing's brushed over, there's another thing that's come. So yeah, I guess it's the life of being a footballer. Your life's in the spotlight. Everyone's got things to say. Whether it gets to you, that's down to you. If you want to let it affect you, I definitely know it's not gonna. People are entitled to their opinions. That's perfectly acceptable. But I know where I want to get to in life. I know what the people close to me. They know what I want to achieve, and I'll hopefully get there someday. But yeah, right now I'm just another goalkeeper that England have had, and hopefully can start catching up to the legacies that other keepers have created.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
This is the perfect day for you.
Oh, goody!
Miles, want to get out of here?
How good is it that we are back?
We have something for everyone.
Get wrapped up in festive faves. Fun for all the family on BBC iPlayer.
The FA Cup live on the BBC.
Sutton United, they've done it again. Boreham Wood lead. Would you believe it?
It's what everybody's talking about.
The dream is still on.
Sutton United v Shrewsbury Town in the FA Cup second round. Next Saturday at 5 on BBC Two and iPlayer.
Now, speaking of the FA Cup, you might remember Ole Gunnar Solskjaer playing a crucial role in Manchester United's famous treble back in 1999. As part of this week's football interview, Kelly Summers caught up with the Reds legend to talk about his time as manager at Old Trafford.
When did management become the thing?
You know, when I was a kid, I was very into football. Me and my cousin, we always used to buy the Rothmans football yearbook every year, and that was our Bible. We knew every player in every division in England, and we used to make our own game, like a management game. That was the probably prequel to the Championship Manager game. We should have copyrighted that one. We were really like nerdy, freaky into that football, and I was always playing the computer games, the management games, instead of the FIFA where you play. I've always been into into coaching or in management and picking teams. I used to coach call it in the local street, the younger boys. We used to make a team for these tournaments, and I was the boss.
How old were you at this point?
13, 14.
Oh wow!
So probably I've always had this manager in me. Then I played at Man United, and I didn't know if I had the personality to be a manager. Say the players in the 80s, 90s, it is different to managing now. Then I got injured, and that's the moment where I decided, I need to stay in the game. That's the time where I decided, okay, I start all these coaching courses and starting to write whatever Sir Alex says. And
I read somewhere that you wrote everything, kept a notebook.
Not everything,
like the important
but yes, I did suddenly start to try to, instead of just being the player that was told, and now I'm learning from the best teacher in the world. How does he get the best out of all these players? What tactically, changing his staff, changing the players. So I just started keeping more an eye on him and that part of football.
It's the biggest club in the world, one of the biggest clubs. You knew that as a player, but as a manager, that pressure, particularly when things aren't maybe going right, must be really tough.
I remember one game, Everton. I'm stood there in my technical area, fourth official next to me. Carlo Ancelotti comes across, so he's more or less in my technical area, and so the fourth official says, "Carlo, you need to get back into your technical area unless you want Ollie's job." And Carlo, as Carlo is, he's always got a comment and a smile and said, "No, too much pressure. Too much pressure. That job is too much pressure." So he walked back to his technical area, and I thought, pressure is a privilege. He's always said that as well, and I felt privileged to be the manager of Man United. But of course, it's not the same as playing. As a player, you just do your job. Suddenly now you're the manager. You're the face of everyone. You think about all these supporters, players, everything surrounding Man United. But that pressure is a privilege because I was allowed to do that, and I was allowed to deal with it in my way. And that was having great staff around us. Environment in and around the club was very positive. But in the end, it doesn't matter if you enjoy coming to work every day, training sessions, you need results. And we, unfortunately, had a very bad 6-week spell, and that's too long at a club like Man United. And they made a change, which is fine. Reflect back on it. Sorry, how do I say this then? It was sad. We lost to Watford, of course, and I knew this is more or less the end. Drove my family to the airport. They went back to Norway actually, and I was going to work. I got a text, "Ollie, I need to see you in my office." And I knew what was going to happen, so I rang my wife straight away. I'll be back. I'll catch you up. I thought I'd probably be back home before you. So
did it feel a bit sudden?
I think it's sudden, but it's not surprising. If you don't get results, you do make a change at football. But I felt we had something going.
Do you feel like when you look back on your period in charge, that now people understand, given what's happened to Manchester United since and the struggles, they look back on that fondly? Do you think you're given maybe the credit that you deserve for your time?
It's not about getting the credit, but it was a difficult. It was the worst time to be the manager of Man United. You have Jurgen Klopp with his Liverpool team, and you have Pep Guardiola with his City team.
Just the two best managers in the world at the time.
Best managers in the world at the time. Probably the two best teams in the world at the time. Yeah. But we got second and third. So with the staff, we had something going, but we couldn't take the next step. So and then hopefully we can get back as a club later on.
If you could only achieve one more thing in your career, what would it be?
Not lifting a trophy for Man United. That's one of the things that I will, as a manager.
I was going to say, you've forgotten a few.
As a manager, that's something that doesn't play on my mind, but that's something that I would have liked to achieve. Hopefully we can do well in the World Cup with Norway, but then maybe be the next one. Who knows? You've always set targets.
The next Norway manager?
Next Norway manager. My friend Ståle is there now. We're playing really well. We're going to the World Cup. I do really, really like managing. It's a great job being the manager of young men, ambitious young men that want to achieve something together.
Ollie, thank you for your time and the best of luck with whatever comes next.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And you can hear lots more from Ole in the football interview. That's on iPlayer right now and as a podcast on BBC Sounds. Half-time in the 2025 Copa Libertadores final at the Estadio Monumental in Lima. It's 0-0, but there have been moments of drama. Not too many moments that would suggest that we were going to see a goal. Let's bring in our South American football expert, Tim Vickery, to get his thoughts on the opening 45 minutes. Tim.
Well, it's very 0-0, isn't it? If you read my preview piece on the BBC website this morning, I kind of ended with the fear that it might be attritional, very different from the 3-2 Flamengo win that we saw between these teams a month ago. And I think that Abel Ferreira has a great deal to do with that. I think he thinks that his team can hold Flamengo and that their moment will come. And I think he will probably be the happier of the two coaches at the moment, not least because Felipe Luis, the Flamengo coach, he has a decision to make about Pulgar, doesn't he? Will he bring Pulgar out for the second half? If this had been a Brazilian referee, Pulgar would have got a red card. He'd have been suspended for this life and part of the next one as well. he's got away with it with, I think, the VAR team, because the ref brandished the yellow immediately. The VAR team, it seems, didn't call him across. I'm sure they'll be talking about this, the refereeing team in the dressing room at half-time. Felipe Luis loves Pulgar. He describes him as a Barcelona midfielder, but he must be walking a tightrope now. And I wonder if Saul might come on for Flamengo. Felipe Luis might also be thinking about the wingers. Everton, left-sided winger, right-footed, cuts in. Everton Cebolinha, Everton the little onion, has been in good form recently and could come in at some point for Samuel Lino, and maybe the left-footed Luis Araújo at some point, because I think the onus is more on Flamengo to find that moment. While it's 0-0, I think Abel Ferreira and Palmeiras are relatively happy.
Palmeiras preparing to return. Murillo with a grimace on his face. Gustavo Gomez, though, is pumped at Pat Nevin. In a first half of few opportunities, I guess Palmeiras will feel the more fortunate that it was 0-0, because there was that little spell that Flamengo looked like they were going to take control of the game.
Yeah, it's kind of sort of suggested that maybe that's about the best you could say, that they may
a suggestion that they might have been able to take control.
A vague suggestion that they may have, but you know, again, I do underline there is a difficulty a lot of the time with players who are uptight, tense. Remember, they played a lot of games this season. They know the fear of getting it wrong, and see, when fear is a factor more than the desire to do something special, do something different and believe in yourself, it can actually start going through the team a little bit. And I'm beginning to see, well, not beginning, I've seen lots of that during the game, and that's when the managers, that's when they come into their form. They have to say, right, go out, I want you to play, I want you to express yourself, particularly in the front area of the pitch, and I hope to see that from both teams.
Tim, half the games that these two have played since the 2021 final have ended up as a draw. Where does that moment of magic come from, do you think, to separate them tonight?
As Pat has been arguing all through the game, space opens up, a little moment of inspiration, perhaps space for Arrascaeta. But it hasn't been a great advert for South American football so far, has it? Sometimes you will read that Brazilian football is all about expressing yourself and no one cares about the result. When you see that, scrumple the page up and throw it away. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's all about the victory. This is a very, very tense occasion. But I do think we're going to get, before we're done here today, we are going to get an outbreak of football.
And let's hope it's contagious.
No, I think I agree with Tim completely. I mean, so many games you play in and you're looking at each other, and then something happens. I mean, when it happens, I'll tell you, right, it'll be 62 minutes or 63. It'll be something like that. Suddenly, a space of, and every players kind of feel it. and they think, okay, right, I can do it a little bit more now. So we'll keep an eye out for that moment when the game opens.
So it was what we saw in the opening 45 minutes, just simply a warm-up, a prelude to the moment that this Copa Libertadores final really truly gets underway. It is Palmeiras in their green who kick us off at the start of the second half. Just about second best in the opening 45. What have they got to give alternatively to what we saw from them, which was always a little bit more hopeful than expectant in terms of creating opportunities? Will Flamengo, the favourites, the team on their way to an 8th Brazilian title, show why they are about to be crowned the best team in Brazil, and can they also be crowned the best team in South America? Varela. Carrascal, that's a decent turn. In it comes, and Kelvin opts to turn the ball behind for a very early corner in this first half.
There have been 1 or 2 moments happening from Varela. The referee wasn't going for it there. Again, player down injured, said he's got a head injury, and referee said, don't believe you. And he was right, because he gets back in there. And thank goodness for him, he does get back in, because when this ball comes over, who's the man that clears it? So had he stayed down, rolling about with his head there and saying, I'm really injured, he could have lost the goal. Again, once again, well done referee, got it right this time.
So first set piece of the second half is a Flamengo corner. Nodded away as far as the edge of the penalty area, thought back with interest and eventually hoisted clear by Andrés Pereira.
Bit of a panic there for Palmeiras. It's a good start from the second half from Flamengo, getting the ball down, like what Varela did, as I say, gets down the line sometimes, you know, more often than not. He'd want to work with the winger in front of him, and he's tried to do that a couple of times already with Carrascal. It's not worked that brilliantly well, but on that occasion, you could see what they were trying to do. A little quite underlapped, nearly got through.
Danilo for Varela. Here's Pulgar. Fortunate man in Lima currently, having survived what on an awful lot of other nights would have been a straight red card in the first half.
Tell you what, I'd love to read the referee's report on that one. The thing is, the referee hasn't seen all the angles we've seen. He's seen one. You know, and I'd question whether, you know, the officials should say, look, come over and have a look at it anyway. And I know the rules are, is it a clear and obvious mistake? I get that, I understand that. But I think they've left their man in a really difficult situation there. Let him have a look at it and let him decide.
Here's Alexandro. Lino. So a return that didn't materialise, and then when the ball went forward towards Flaco Lopez, it'd have been offside if he'd chased it.
He just loved this referee. Players go down and he just goes, get up. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see more of that in the English game, to be fair, as well as here.
Goes Carrascal. Hooked away. Arrasquieta's underneath it, so too Kelvin. Varela. And that's a lovely interchange. Piquerez looking to get back and make life difficult for Guillermo Varela. Cross is well won by Murillo, who threw himself at the ball, and now there's a break on. Possibilities here. Flaco Lopez. Wide it goes. Vitor Roque. Andrés Pereira. For Alan. Charge down. Flaco Lopez. Blocked. And then Piquerez trying to get on the loose ball. And committing a foul which ends Palmeiras' interest in maintaining an attack.
Wasn't a bad move though. That was much, much better. Look, just players working with each other. Again, That's just a tackle for me. Both players going for the ball. Yeah, it might be hard, but that's a good, strong and fair challenge. But yeah, they're working together a little bit better. We've seen a lot less in these first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half of just lumping the ball aimlessly forward, trying to play players into feet, understanding each other, believing in each other. So I suspect both managers have had a word about that and say try and calm down a bit.
Little bits of encouragement for those waving predominantly green colours. An awful lot of supporters have taken bizarre and unusual routes and spent an awful lot of money to get here to support their teams. Would have been cheaper to fly from London to Lima than either of the cities that these clubs hail from. Bruno Henrique just marshalled out of the way by Bruno Fuchs. Beats the ground in frustration.
Good strong defending though. He needs to be powerful there. Yeah, there's a bit of a lean into it, but you know, as a forward, you know you need to be strong in those situations. And that's just a good physical force. Wouldn't be given any penalties there. There's a little bit more action and excitement around the goals in this second half, and certainly the first half had 10 or 15 minutes. Oh, mistake!
Oh, mistake. And now a chance. Arrascaeta is in. And Gustavo Gomez makes amends to deflect the ball behind.
Now, does that remind you of a mistake that you've seen recently involved in this fixture? It's just like the Andreas Pereira one, wasn't it? So similar.
Deary me, it was Murillo who put his team in serious danger there, and grateful to his captain who hurt himself in the process to make sure that Arrascaeta didn't get the shot away cleanly.
We were talking about that mistake from Andreas Pereira a few years ago there, and it's stunningly similar. Stunning. He got away with it this time.
That was the resulting corner, headed away by that man Gomez again. Pulga. Thing that Leo Pereira could do in terms of keeping Flamengo moving forward, and he retreats to take up a defensive position. They would be loathed to lose their skipper to injury, Palmeiras.
Yeah. I mean, players have been down quite a bit throughout this game so far, but it looks to me that he has actually got an injury there, and he's just trying to walk it off to see if he can loosen it off a little bit, but you can tell he's definitely concerned back there, Gomez.
The bounce of the ball is favourable for Vitor Roque, who couldn't quite bundle his way past Guillermo Varela.
He's done well, Varela. Going forward a lot, he had to cover around there. I mean, if your centre-backs are in trouble, you cover around as much as you possibly can, give them a little bit of a help. That's exactly what he did there. And, you know, it's a dangerous moment there. You just need to get a little bobble, a little ricochet. Could be in real trouble, but he coped with it well.
Lino. Sent out to Arrascaeta. Lino up against Bruno Fuchs. Headed away by Piquerez. And then Fuchs gets it a little bit further clear. Jorginho. Pulga. Leo Pereira. Rafael Veiga first to the loose ball. Flamengo currently a man down.
I'll tell you what, wait a wee while on that pitch there, waiting for the referee to stop it for him. He's not allowing the game to stop if he can possibly let it carry on. He's letting it carry on, the referee.
Eventually the game is stopped because Varela has been shoved to the floor.
I think we'll give a free kick for that one. And again, it makes it a little bit bitty again, because I was enjoying that. There's 7, 8, 9 minutes there, beginning to see better play, better link-ups, understanding with each other. And the front players of both sides are actually beginning to look a little bit hotter, but we'll see if the referee can keep this game going, allow it to run on, and if that happens, then the spaces will begin to open up. We're beginning to see them a little bit already.
Jorginho. Arrascaeta. Who's eventually felled by Joaquin Piqueres, and that will be a free kick.
Yeah, good movement there. Again, he's dropping into the pocket there. The referee knows that he's got away, and if you don't get the ball when the player's running away at that angle, it's not a vicious tackle there, but he's tried to go for the ball, but he knows that his body's going to affect him as well. There's not much in it there, but he's got his trailing leg slightly, and again, you can't argue too much that it is a yellow card.
Could not afford to let opponent and ball past him. One or the other was acceptable.
That's defenders for you.
Jorge Carrascal on set-piece duty for Flamengo. And it comes from Carrascal. And not dealt with by the goalkeeper, who is mighty relieved that eventually, with Jorginho in the vicinity, the ball bounces back to him.
Do you know, there's a couple of times he gave very early on from a corner kick that he lost the flight of it. And he is huge, he is gigantic for a goalkeeper. But he comes out and he doesn't look that impressive. You know, certainly in the air, he's not commanding in a way you'd expect of a goalkeeper of that height to be. And he looked very shaky there.
Sandro with a touch to keep the ball in play. Lino helps it on. Now Bruno Henrique away from Gomez, has to settle for a corner.
Well, is that possibly the first time we've seen the real pace of Henrique? And when he does get a chance to run, there's a little bit of grass in front of him, a tiny bit of space to attack. He is lightning. He's so quick across the ground. I don't think he ever completely had control of the ball there, but he certainly looks dangerous when he gets the chance to sprint.
Volume cranked up a notch in expectation of this Carrascal corner. Flamengo in the ascendancy, and with this set-piece opportunity in from Carrascal. Varela. Bruno Henrique went up early and hung there for a while, hooked away by Andreas Pereira.
Again, he's not comfortable there, is he? You know, if you go out there, you get it, you get height and distance on it, and you get neither of them. But give him his due, he got that hand to it. He got the big mitt across there.
Big, emphatic dismissal of penalty claims as well. Here's Rafael Veiga. Kelvin for Alan. Oh, he's done well. Alan then couldn't pick out a teammate after some exceptional work.
I'm finally getting to see my wingers playing. Oh, a reaction there.
Lino just took exception to what he felt was the nature of the challenge here from Kelvin.
It's one of those ones you've got to be careful. He keeps his hands just low enough, just low enough. How many times do you think the referee said in Argentinian, calm down? Spanish maybe. A little moment there, wasn't it, on the right-hand side, but we didn't see the wingers getting the ball in the final third. Now, you know the feeling, if you're a creative player, you don't want to get the ball like 40 yards inside your own half and told, right, go and beat 6 players and get a cross in. You want it in the final third with one player in front of you. On that occasion, he got it there and he got past it. It was a lovely little bit of skill. The cross was decent as well, just no one there to attack it, but we're beginning to see little bits more, just as we're expecting. Little half chances, but there's a few half chances for Palmeiras, but there's lots more for Flamengo just now, but mostly from those set pieces.
team that has lost just 2 of its last 12 games is momentarily looking the superior, but Palmeiras have a track record for turning things around. Rafael Veiga, the key component to that in the semi-final against Quito, and he has won a free kick.
Listen how quickly he recovers. Again, free kick, but there's no kick there, it's just a little bit of a shove. Holding onto your leg as if you're relaxed.
Flaco Lopez challenging Agustin Rossi.
It is interesting to watch Jorginho on the ball there, because that's where he lives. You get the ball in that deep area, in the inverted commas 5 position as they do in South America. But he's not as zippy in his turning, he's not as sharp in his passing as he's been in the past.
Lino. And from Alexandro. And the header ends up well off target from Carrascal.
Once again, lots of crosses coming in now, as I say, mostly from set pieces, but they're getting into good areas now. It's getting a little bit more worrying for that Palmeiras defence. They've not been open chances, not been great chances. They've blocked well, they've had to defend well in those situations when the ball's, you know, bounced out, you know, clearance to the D and things like that. But you can see an opportunity is going to come quite soon, unless they adapt it for, certainly Flamengo at the moment, they look the better side for me.
Well, their paths to this final could not have been more different. Palmeiras sailed through their group with a perfect record, and they scored 30 goals in total throughout the 12 games up until this point. Flamengo in their group won only 3 of their 6, but they've only conceded 5 goals in total. Alasquieta. Carrascal. Lino. Jorginho. Spots Varela arriving. Piquerez out towards him. Polgar. Jorginho looking for Varela again. Piquerez with some astute defending.
The right play, just not the final correct power on the pass. I mean, Jorginho, that's a pass that he plays all day long and doesn't think about it. But there's just, again, not enough zip. Talking about that zippy passing, which he was always known for. You know, lots of people thought it was just a, you know, a sideways pass of a ball, but when the right one was on, it would be pinged in there. Just a little bit sluggish on it, not quite as zippy as he used to be.
Varela with the throw for Carrascal. Trying to win a corner. Gustavo Gomez away, making sure that didn't happen, and he was caught late after the fact as well by Bruno Henrique.
Do you think he was actually caught?
Giving him the benefit of the doubt. We're about to find out.
Well, let's have a look. 5.8, 5.9. Look, he's trailed his leg there. That's what he's done. He's got over the top. To be fair, you've got to get out of the way in those situations. I'll give you that. You've got to get out of the way in those situations, but I don't think the referee... well, he certainly wasn't reaching for any cards, and rightly so. And by the way, I'm not surprised at some changes. This is exactly when you expect it. You can see that Palmeiras are beginning to tire just a little bit, so if you can get a little bit of pace on, particularly middle to front, this may be just the right time for Flamengo.
By the way, it wouldn't be a Copa Libertadores final without somebody called Everton involved. And in your honour, Pat, we're about to get someone of that name. In a moment, Alan. And it comes. Well, grabbed by Agustin Rossi.
Rossi's looked good tonight, actually. It was one little shaky moment about 5 minutes ago, but he looks very, very comfortable. There's no fuss, no hassle. Ball's played in there. He just walks out and takes it as if, you know, cherries. Easy, easy ball. And that really helps the defence. And that, I mean, it kind of sickens the attackers as well, because they've nothing to play off. So, you know, he's done well today.
Lino. Bruno Henrique. Poked behind by Fuchs.
Enrique always tries the same trick. And Fuchs isn't falling for it, but even so, because he's got that pace, he's not really getting any choice. You just have to show him down the lane and try and get the ball out of play there. But he is trying the same thing time and again. But just a moment there, Leno got the ball in that area, and that is the gaps we're talking about. They are beginning to open up now for Flamengo.
Carrascal delivers. Opts for depth. That's where Leo Pereira was stationed. And the outcome will be a corner kick on the other side.
And it's getting harder and harder now for Palmeiras. They're really struggling to get up the field. It's a backs to the wall display now. And the referee's got that spot on. Well spotted there. Another corner kick, and the corner kicks are mounting up. We just need one to drop into the right area.
Being urged on from behind the goal. This is delivered brilliantly. A towering leap, a brilliant header, and a goal to put Flamengo in front. The pressure has finally resulted in them scoring the first goal of this Copa Libertadores final.
Well, it's not a shock, really. It's come from a corner kick. That's the important and the biggest thing about it, because they've had 5, 6, 7 in the start of the second half. It was absolutely constant, and eventually you just need to drop it to the right person, and eventually, I mean, they're disappointed there, but you know, eventually, I'm trying to see, was it Danilo?
It was Danilo who emerged from the pack, a man with 2 Champions League winners' medals in his possession. Is he about to get one from the Copa Libertadores as well?
And you've got to say they deserved it. Just moments before saying they were beginning to control the game, Palmeiras were falling further and further and further back, and eventually it just needs the right ball, somebody just to turn off for a second, and he just leapt. He was so high above anyone else, off the post, nothing the keeper can do. It's a long way back, even though it's only 1 goal for Palmeiras.
Well, South American football expert Tim Vickery is with us. Tim, that had been coming.
Yes, it had, and what a scorer. Danilo is a reserve for Flamengo. He's only playing today because Leo Ortiz, the first choice centre-back, is not fit enough. Despite that, you know, he's in the Brazil side at right back. Carlo Ancelotti loves him. Says he can cover all positions in the back four. He also times a late run like nobody, doesn't he? Terrific goal from the header. 1-0. What are Palmeiras going to be able to do about it now?
And the response to the goal is a change by Flamengo, and it's a change that Tim predicted at half-time, the introduction of Everton, and he is on for Lino, who departs. Everton has twice won this competition, once with Flamengo and previously also with Grêmio.
Yeah, we just see if will either team change it massively. I mean, if I'm Flamengo just now, you are so much in control, you had so much of the game, just keep on doing it. Just keep on doing exactly the same thing. We'll see if Palmeiras can change their game, because they really have to.
Well, back to his goalkeeper, and Rossi stands firm, and they are anxious. Abel Ferreira's side are behind. They deserve to be on the balance of play in this second half. What response have they got to their big rival in Brazilian football, not just in this competition, in the domestic title race as well? For so long they've been neck and neck in pursuit of that bit of silverware. That looks set to go the way of Flamengo.
And they've got a lot of good players they can bring on, and that's the thing. Palmeiras have got decisions to make now, so there are players that they can bring in. Sousa's a very, very good player, attack-minded player. Torres as well. I mean, there is quality there, but do you do it now? Well, you're already running out of time. There's only 20 minutes to go. You've got to make decisions, and we've heard a lot about Abel's quality. Well, now you've got to show us what you've got, mate.
Oh, an error. Flaco Lopez with a chance to capitalise upon it, and jubilation that has been blocked behind. Vitor Roque thought perhaps there was a challenge in there worthy of more.
But you know what? I thought there was very, very sluggish movement. They won it there. I mean, poor out from the back. Caught him. He's wanting to foul there. Would you really want to foul there when there's a chance to turn around and shoot a goal? I think the referee once again got that spot on. You must allow that play to go on in case the ball ends up in the net.
It was the goal scorer Danilo who made that challenge. Andreas Pereira cleared as far as Kelvin. Gonna have to commit now, Palmeiras. Flaco Lopez is in there. And the effort is only just wide from Murillo, and he thinks he got a touch on the way.
You know, it's the second half. They've hardly got up the field, Palmeiras. And look at it now. They've lost the goal suddenly. They're getting corners. They're putting the ball into the box. They're getting bodies forward. They've actually now switched on. And it's a classic one. You were trying to play in the break. That's what you're trying to do. By the way, it should be a corner kick there. It's a great angle we've got there. And the referee hasn't spotted it. And they are going to make one of those changes that was suggested before. Felipe Anderson's going to go on.
Rafael Veiga, the hero of the spirited semi-final fight back, is not going to be part of any transformation today. He's one of those who has departed. Alan as well. Facundo Torres is thrown into the action, and so too the player once upon a time of West Ham United, Lazio, amongst his former clubs as well, Felipe Anderson.
Yeah, that's very attack-minded. I mean, there was a possibility those two could have started the game. You know, and they are very attack-minded players. It's interesting to see, you know, how they change now. Will they adapt to it? More of a possibly even a 4-4-2 they might go to now for Palmeiras. It looks pretty close to that. We shall see.
Torres was straight into the action, but Flaco Lopez then got himself involved in conceding a free kick.
I think there might be a wee bit of time wasting from Flamengo now. Just a possibility.
About the delivery from Arrascaeta here, and the leap from Danilo, the spring in the heels, having found that pocket of space to run into.
And yes, it's brilliant. It's a good delivery. It's a good header. He's got up a phenomenal height. Nobody's even near him. No one's nudging him. No one's asking the question. It's one of those moments where someone right now has got a prickly neck because they know they've left the player they should have been marking.
Everton's first involvement for Flamengo. A flamboyant back heel. Well, Arrascaeta has scored an awful lot of goals this season for Flamengo. 23 in all competitions. That, though, incredibly, his 18th assist. He's having the season of his life.
That's fantastic. Big numbers, that amount of assists.
Fuchs sends it forward. Flaco Lopez, as he has done so often, wins a header, but the next touch afterwards is by an opposition player, not one of his own teammates.
Again, the referee's trying to get control of it. Torres is down, and unless you're injured at this point of time, you've got to get up. You've got to go on with it. You ain't got time to roll about. You must get up unless you're very badly injured. Let's have a look at the tackle. Do you know what? He's got the ball. Yeah, he might have been a bit of pain through there afterwards because he's caught the ball with his foot as well as he's done it. So, yeah. But even if you're in pain, time's running out. The Copa Libertadores is not going your way.
Forward by Andreas Pereira. Header one, but the effort hooked towards goal is in no way threatening by Vitor Roque.
Yeah, you know, they're going to try and play it up front as much as possible, and they have to get those players on the ball. Torres will be desperate to. We know Felipe Anderson's got some skills as well, but you've got to give him some possession in the final third, and that's a lot to ask in 15 minutes, but you never know. It's a very different game now. It's a totally different game now. Palmeiras have actually started to come out a little bit, which is long overdue.
The sun is beginning to set on one of the most breathtaking settings in world football, the Estadio Monumental in Lima. It is the jubilant Flamengo fans that you can hear. What can Palmeiras do to stir themselves from what has been, compared to their opponents, a relative slumber? It would be a sixth successive game without a win for Palmeiras if they are to lose tonight, and their dip in form has come at entirely the wrong stage of the season. Vitor Roque, Andreas Pereira, Felipe Anderson stays on his feet, finds Vitor Roque. Felipe Anderson again. Wonderful work. Felipe Anderson just about stays upright. And then there are claims, big shouts for a penalty as Eric Polgar gets the ball away.
Unrecognisable game of football. An unrecognisable Palmeiras at this point in time. They're getting the ball down. They're playing at a much better pace. They're shoving it wide as often as they possibly can. And you can see the liveliness that Torres has brought into it, and obviously Felipe Anderson as well. Totally and utterly different. I wish this would have happened half an hour ago.
Andreas Pereira with the corner. It's a vicious one, well dealt with by Rossi. Everton helps it further clear.
Not going to come out at all, are they? They're leaving 4, 5, 6 back there when they break. That was nothing like what Flamengo were doing before. And that may be a bad move.
Facundo Torres. Gomez had stayed forward from the corner. Fuchs is still in opposition territory as well. The delivery all the way through to Gustavo Gomez, who's still an extra attacker. Piqueres allowed to continue. Chance to cross now. Under the pump, all of a sudden the team that have the lead. Until that moment, a challenge, a free kick conceded for a challenge on Bruno Henrique, and a yellow card produced 2 for Murillo.
Again, not clever at this point in time. He's just left his body in there. Again, it's just pure frustration as much as anything else. It's a nudge more than anything, and it's just killing the play. It's slowing it down, but it does give Palmeiras a chance to get a few more players on.
Well, a player of very recent Premier League vintage is into the game. Ramon Sosa, and so too Augustin Gay. They have both come on.
Gay gets sent off, didn't he, during the week there? But it wasn't this competition, so he's okay to carry on. I mean, so many attack-minded players you've got on there now for Palmeiras. You've got Torres, you've got Sousa, you've got Felipe Anderson. Rocky still on this. This will be quite a system that they're going to set up now. This is a get everything forward system. Murillo's gone off now, and they're certainly not going to have a back three for the last part of this game. Again, long ball up there, and they can do that now. There's no reason why you shouldn't do that now if you're Flamengo. Just put the ball up there. It's going to take a little bit of time to come back. You're not going to push that many players forward. Just the odd one, you're looking for the odd flick on. But it's just the pure psychology of one goal. Again, what Tim Vickery was saying at half-time, wasn't it? Forget the flair. We've got the goal. We're holding on to it. Even though Flamengo were miles the better team before that, they've just sat and said, right, we'll keep what we've got.
Possession conceded by Guia. Free kick won by Everton. Yeah, sent off in a 3-2 defeat by Grêmio in midweek that all but ended Palmeiras' interests in the Brazilian Serie A title.
It's been a wee bit disappointing for Arrascaeta tonight. Not being absolutely expecting so much. I mean, generally, if you're wearing number 10 and you're playing one of the top teams in Brazil, there is a lot expected of you, but he's not had as great an effect in the game as he'd like to have.
He did take the corner from which Flamengo scored, so he has another assist to add to his tally for a prolific season as he departs. Luis Araujo, once upon a time of Lille in France, is into the action.
I just like it now. Look, they're getting the ball wide. absolutely getting the ball as wide as possible. They're moving it much, much quicker. Palmeiras now, they look like a team that plays more confidently, much more confidently when they're attacking.
Headed away by Leo Pereira, who wasn't entirely sure of his goalkeeper's whereabouts. Andreas Pereira finding Piqueres. Carrascal losing out two and then fouling Felipe Anderson.
Once again, some players tired, some players want to get a little bit of rest at this point in time, just trying to see if anyone's really badly injured in this tackle. Well, that's an unusual that could have been a sore one for Felipe Anderson there. Those are the ones that can damage your knee. You have to be careful with that one. But that was an unusual tackle. That was a tackle almost with his head on the ground towards the ball. That shows a level of desperation at this point in time.
9 minutes of the 90 remaining. The Flamengo supporters will not fool themselves into believing that there's not going to be a substantial chunk in addition to that.
I haven't said that. The referee's not let them waste too much time so far. A number of players have went down and he just gave them his usual raised eyebrows and carried on most of the time. So looks maybe at the moment 4 or 5 minutes. We shall see if that's the case when it comes.
Andreas Pereira. Yet another set-piece delivery. Yeah, kept it alive momentarily. Will be a Palmeiras throw.
It's long over, well, before we even got to see it. The player goes down. It's the oldest one in the book. I've got cramp. Can't. Well, we know what he's doing. He's praying for it. And he got his prayers were answered with this. I mean, it's a fantastic lead, an absolute fantastic lead.
What blame, if any, do we attribute to Allen, the player who was static on the edge of the penalty area from the position that Danilo made his run?
To be honest, I'm looking at Fuchs now. He's running onto Fuchs, and he's a tall player. He's your central one. And if you're playing partially zonally, if he runs into your zone, you've got to get him. Fuchs never moved.
Seen behind and out of play for a goal kick by Alexandro, one of those veterans in this Flamengo side whose experience of huge games will come to the fore now, you suspect, from his 9 years at Juventus.
Once again, you know, they try and slow everything down. You know they will do it. There'll be more players between now and the end of this game. In red and black, they go down with cramp, trust me.
Andreas Pereira sending the ball out wide. Get Everton chasing back, hassling and making his presence felt.
They are having to work hard, and they are working hard back. Another change there. They're throwing everything they possibly can at it just now. A wee bit more defensive strength, maybe. That's what they're trying to get just now.
Bruno Henrique, something of a controversial figure in South American football. A starter tonight. Having had a goal per game for his previous 6 in November, he's not got one tonight. Off he comes to be replaced by another striker, Juninho.
Just looks a little bit more physical, Juninho. You bring him on, he's hold it up a bit, and of course if you listen to corner kicks, his physicality, that certainly wasn't Enrique's strength. His was purely the pace more than anything else, and he didn't have a great effect in the game, but I have to say he did keep running, he did keep going, but he wasn't getting a lot of service for most of it. But Juninho come on and he'll be using his physicality with these long balls.
Flamengo took a 1-0 lead to Racing in the second leg of their semi-final and protected it, despite at one point playing 10 against 11 in that game. And they have so far successfully defended a 1-0 lead since the midway point of this second half in the final. Fuchs finds Andreas Pereira. Varela. His leap to head the ball out of the play. Cheered enthusiastically.
I have to say, Varela is probably the best player on the pitch today. I mean, he's not done much wrong at all, and he's got forward, he's defended really, really well. He's been intelligent in his play.
Fuchs with the cross. Varela again. The player to send it away from immediate danger.
Love that. Oh, you'll absolutely love that. He didn't get the ball, and he's saying that's exactly what he's saying there. This was a few moments ago, and Anderson, lovely little trick there. But he just lost his foot, and he lost the power in his legs just as he went past. I think you're hoping for a wee bit too much here. Here's the referee's angle of it. And I think once again, he's made the right decision. And he has done well. You know, he's got a real presence about him, the referee. And again, there is only one major mistake I think he's made, but considering the game we've got and the pressure of this game, that's actually not bad. He did injure himself, and I thought he'd injured his knees when he went down. He clearly has.
Not long after coming on, Felipe Anderson departs. Maurizio is on for him, and that must be considered a setback because Felipe Anderson had looked lively and had been sent on to do a job which he demonstrated he was capable of delivering on.
Yeah, it was just that tackle, you know, that head on the ground tackle. Well, his leg got caught underneath it, and as soon as it happened, I thought, no, don't like the angle that his knee went to there. And I suspect there's a little damage to one of his ligaments on the side of his knee.
Carlos Miguel sending the ball forward. Time against Palmeiras. Torres helping it on, and here he is again. Behind it goes as Sosa tries to re-deliver the ball.
Well, here's a question. Miguel's 6'8", the goalkeeper. You've got a corner kick. You've got just 2.5 minutes left. You probably won't come up for this one, but if there's another one after this, he'd love to come up because it's 6'8". You're going to cause mayhem whether you get the ball or not.
Andreas Pereira whips it in. Headed away quite brilliantly by Juninho. Hung up nicely. And Flamengo have stood pretty firm all night, and they do so again.
I don't think they have been a wee bit predictable, but that's what happens late in the game. You get it in the mixer.
And that's the approach once more. Flaco Lopez. Delicate. And a chance! Spurned. A glorious chance of all players. Vitor Roque has wasted the moment to level things up.
Well, what always comes down to the ball was getting lumped in. It was so predictable. But then there was just a moment of calm, and it was a dink to the back post, and that led to the chance there. And you can't believe he's not got it on target. What's the referee looking at? Has he seen something else here? Well, he's not letting the play go on. He's having a lot of work with Vitor Roque just now. I don't think there's anything much in that. Only the last minute here, and he will think about that. No, it won't be just tonight. It'll be many, many nights if they can't get something in from this game.
Here comes the corner. Punched clear by Rossi. Final minute of the 90. Carrascal sends the ball forward. Juninho couldn't find a way past Gary.
Good strength there, and in the last moments here it's all one-way traffic now. It's incredible. Since the goal, it's just been one-way traffic. It's hardly gone out the other end.
Fuchs with two headers. A flick, something, anything but now on the break. No, Carlos Miguel aware that Carrascal was a long way away from an outfield marker. Andreas Pereira. Maurizio. Facundo Torres. Fuchs has stayed forward. Flaco Lopez helping it on.
I think Palmeiras have got 5 minutes.
Oh, just 5.
But they've got a real problem. At the top of your picture, have a look. They've got a player injured. That hamstring's gone. He can't run.
Chance for Everton to perhaps seal it for Flamengo. Down he goes. Free kick. Yellow card.
He had to do that there. He absolutely had to do that there because he knew his mate behind him was in massive, massive trouble. He couldn't run at all. And stretches Emerson there.
Yeah, it was Maurizio who made the contact on the marauding Everton.
It's exactly what you want, isn't it? If you're Flamengo, Maurizio take that yellow card all day long because he didn't have enough cover behind him. Going to waste every second. Yeah, Jorginho's been here before, hasn't he? He knows how to waste a few moments or two. I mean, there's a half a temptation at this point in time, and I know it sounds odd, to go and just play wide. Go and waste another couple of minutes. I hope they don't. I want them to have a shot. They should have a shot from here. Give yourself a little chance for glory, and you can relax the last few minutes.
This would be the grandstand finale, though, wouldn't it, if they could get the clincher from this situation. Yeah, Pereira fancies it. Everton is there as well. It is Everton, and via the goalkeeper onto the post, kept alive by Juninho. And the second effort wasn't too far from going in either. Carrascal taking aim.
Yeah, they're going to have to try and get off the park as soon as possible. They're absolutely running out of time. They're making another 30 seconds because of the free kick there. But that's the first break that Flamengo have had for such a long time.
Varela. How did he make that ball here? Is Andreas Pereira.
See that energy of Varela there, chasing all the way. He's up to centre forward now. You're 1-0 up, mate. You're the right back. That's not where you should be.
Everton inviting challenges, this time from Torres, wins another free kick.
You'll be absolutely delighted with that, and his teammates will be as well. They're chasing everything. They're up and down the pitch, but they're little wink there. He knows that was clever. I've got to say, that was very, very clever. He knew exactly what he was doing. He drew the foul, and he's just killed the game for another 30 seconds, a vital 30 seconds.
Not just the man of the match, the hero of the entire tournament, Jorginho de Azquierda. He took the corner that led to the goal, by which Flamengo still lead, the only goal of a game in which chances have been at the highest of premiums. Abel Ferreira came out on top with Palmeiras the last time that these sides met in the Copa Libertadores final. It looks as though the roles are going to be reversed tonight. Inevitably, deep in stoppage time, the benches are getting involved.
But they always do, and they're ready to run on. Well, certainly, you're ready to run on if you're a Flamengo player. If you're on the bench, you're killing as much time as you can. Look, there's been no play for 30 seconds. They don't care. They love that.
Carrascal wins the header. It doesn't drop, though, for Juninho. Helped on towards Flaco Lopez.
They just can't get it under control. They need to, at some point, try and calm it. I know it's hard, but try and calm it. You've only got one chance. Get the ball wide, play it. Just not lumping it aimlessly. Give yourself one opportunity in these last dying seconds.
Felipe Luis moments away from becoming the 9th man to win this competition as a player and a coach. Into the penalty area, awkward, and it bounces very, very nastily in front of Augustin Rossi, who reacts well.
He's actually been very good goalkeeper there. I mean, he's never looked under particular pressure. He's maybe punched it once when he should have caught it. Other than that, he's been absolutely perfect. He's done the right thing there. Just get as far away from the goal as possible in these last few seconds.
Free kick goes the way of Palmeiras, with the Flamengo bench screaming for it to go their way. 5 minutes of stoppage time have come and gone. The eternal glory for 2025 belongs to Flamengo. Redemption for what happened 4 years ago in this fixture against this opponent. Danilo's goal midway through the second half proved to be the match-winning moments. Palmeiras came roaring back at them, but they couldn't find an equaliser. One goal enough. The 2025 Copa Libertadores champions are Flamengo. They have beaten their great rivals of Brazilian football by a goal to nil. Tim Vickery, what did you make of it?
No classic. We heard from the Palmeiras camp that mentally and physically they were on their last legs. Now, the Brazilian calendar is so insane that those FIFA dates that we had a few days ago, on the Tuesday, lots of these players were representing various national teams in the States and in Europe. On the Wednesday, they were playing for their teams in crunch games in the Brazilian Championship. And I think that's taken a little bit of the edge off of this game. Wasn't the occasion that we'd hoped. Flamengo, a deserved win, no doubt about that whatsoever. A strange campaign in some ways. They're a free-scoring side. In the Brazilian Championship, they've outscored Palmeiras 74-60. In this Libertadores campaign, 13 games, they've only scored 13 goals. Know who this man, Felipe Luis, who the coach that he spent most of his time under? Diego Simeone. It was a Simeone win in the end, wasn't it? I'll be in the stadium on Wednesday when Flamengo will hope to complete the double by winning the Brazilian League, and after that off to Qatar for the World Club, the Intercontinental Cup. It never ends.
Many thanks to Tim Vickery. Pat, your final thoughts on the final?
The right team won, and in the end they were a little bit more positive, and Palmeiras they sat back far too long until they lost the goal, and it was that one goal, that one moment, after many corner kicks in a row. He wanted it, he was desperate, someone was going to switch off. It's all about a little bit of space. It will open up, and in the end it opened up in the 6-yard line for Danilo, and he has made himself a hero forever.
Yes, a former Manchester City and Real Madrid player, the Flamengo hero. He and Jorginho join the ranks of those that have won this competition and the Champions League. It had the drama eventually, and congratulations to Flamengo, the winners of the Copa Libertadores.